Hey y'all, what it do? So today we are going to talk about credit cards. Now, I am not a financial advisor, don't work at a bank. I'm a college student studying engineering, but I do have two amazing parents full of wisdom that have taught me a decent amount about credit cards. And having my own financial advisor, he's taught me a lot about credit cards and the ins and outs of them. So, tips and tricks. Tip one, APR. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of it, but what we do want to know is that we want this number low. From a lot of the credit cards that I've looked at, APRs range from 22%, as low as 20, all the way up to 28%. And of course, they can range widely outside of that range as well. But that's the type of interest rates that I have seen thus far. Now, the thing with APRs is that if you've had your credit card for some time, there are times in which you can call your credit union and ask them to decrease your APR. I've actually done that before with one of my credit cards, and my APR went from 24.26% to 22.20%. Now, although that isn't that big of a change, it's something. So in the event you do want to spend on that card, you're not incurring as much interest, because interest actually, it hurts. After I paid off one of my credit cards, it shows you basically how much you've spent on the card and how much you've paid on the card. So my assumption was to actually subtract those two numbers, and to my knowledge, that's the amount of interest that I had to pay. So in short, I paid 4 digits in interest just because there was a time where I was not disciplined about my credit card. So calling, make sure if you feel as though you've been good on your payments and things of that nature, call and see if they can decrease that for you, because at the end of the day, it might not be a large change in that APR, but it's still less than what you were paying initially, because those little coins, those little chunk change, it adds up. Trust me. Next thing I have is, how do you select your credit cards? When I was credit card hunting for my second card, I really focused on, where do I see myself in the next 5-10 years? Do I want to travel, and am I going to be grocery shopping more? Do I need to focus more on gas? Or do I see myself switching to an electric car, so I don't need to focus on credit cards that have regular gas rewards or gas discounts? For me, I saw myself traveling a decent amount. Now, keep this in mind. I am doing my best to avoid stating any credit card unions, specific credit cards, or anything of that nature, because these are the credit cards that I use, and you can do your research to figure out the credit cards that you want to use. This is only a guidance. Keep in mind that I am not a financial advisor. I am an engineering student that takes an interest in finance. So I saw myself traveling a decent amount. So I selected a card that would basically allow and help me to rack up points so that it would be easier for me to travel. So something to keep in mind with many credit cards, they say, oh, if you spend XYZ amount, we'll give you XYZ in points. Mainly points. That's usually how they do it. And there's another method that they have as well. But if you are spending that amount for those points, do not allow yourself to spend outside of your budget. Like, say for instance, you have a $250 budget for that month. I know I'm a college student. my money still small, so the budget is small. So to insert number, let's say it like that. So you have insert number for that month. And just because that you have this new credit card and they say if you spend $500, but $500 exceeds your monthly budget, they usually give you more than 1 month to spend that. Usually they'll give you 3 to 6 months. So state how much you want to spend that month so that you can still stay on budget and still be paying that amount off. Because although you might be paying it off as you're spending it, that amount is still going to be racking up so that you can still get your points. That's one of the ways that they want you to spend a lump sum and then you have interest occurring on it. And that's how they make money off of you. So that's exactly what you don't want to do. Now, another way that I've seen them wanting to get like funds out of you or things of that nature, they'll say, if you spend $2,000 within 6 months, those first 6 months will be interest free. But now thinking logistically and analytically, do you usually spend $2,000 or college student mind? Do you usually spend that large lump sum amount within that amount of time? Will you be able to pay off that $2,000 or lump sum amount within the time that interest rate goes away? I mean, by the time that interest rate kicks back in? If you answer that question and say no, you may not need to do that, because what they're trying to get you to do is say, oh, I'll pay off that large sum amount before my 0% interest runs up. And then look at you, got $2,000 plus interest racking up on your credit card. And what is that doing? Taking a hit on your credit score.